Hello and welcome to the Alchemist Inkwell.
This is your spiritual podcast for grounded people.
And if you're wondering why we still look the same from our last podcast, it's because we're recording them on the same day.
It's been a whole 2 minutes since the last episode for us.
Sometimes that's just the way that it flows, and
Mhm.
that is okay. We got this.
How we make sure we still show up no matter what.
hmm Absolutely. This is gonna be a fun episode, though. I'm excited. I think it's a
Mhm.
perfect way to kind of round out the year, start the next year. I don't really know when this episode's going to air, actually,
I
when
think,
I think about
so
it.
wait, wait,
I
wait,
think it
wait.
might be
I
the
will,
first episode of 2025, but either way, it's a great one. It's going to
yeah,
be fun.
this one's going to air for Patreon on January 1st, and it'll air for everybody else everywhere else on January 2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, we planned it perfectly. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a both.
This is
We
how we're
are,
kicking off 2025. Welcome to 2025. I hope it's lovely.
yeah, we are still stuck back here in 2024.
Get us
Okay.
out.
The synesthesia is so weird because 2024 is like a mauve purple
Mm.
color, and then 2025 is like a really clear sky blue for me. And I'm
Oh
like, oh
gosh.
wow, they're in a
Yeah,
better color to make
that's
it.
interesting. Because thinking about the astrology year you're going into, that makes so much sense. Mine is like a red.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Brutal.
But there's a lot of Aries energy in my solar return for next year, so it makes sense.
All
Yeah.
right then.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's okay. My guides were like, it's not as bad as it looks. Interpret it this way. And I'm like, okay, good.
Okay.
I'll hold you to
Glad
that.
to hear it.
We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just go like my synesthesia is not like a definitive, by the way. Like
Mhm.
that's the other thing is like when I like channel in stuff, that's different. Synesthesia is just like all of my words have colors in my brain when they
Yeah.
talk. So like it's very, very colorful up in here all the time. And sometimes different shapes come up with that too. So just synesthesia, that's just what it is. So like someone could be like, well, I think this year's gonna be yellow, and I'd be like, that's
Yeah.
great.
Totally true.
For me, my synesthesia, which is when I say the word 2025, it just gives me a clear sky blue. Like, that's
Yeah.
just what it is.
Exactly. Same, like when I say 2025, the five takes over everything and becomes red. Five, my numbers also have personalities and interactions with each other, as do
Mm,
my letters. And it's funny because you reminded me a couple weeks ago, Dan and I were watching a TV show and we were trying to talk about these characters in the show. And
mhm.
Dan was like, that guy. And I was like, oh, the guy whose face is like butter. And he was like, what? I'm like, it's like butter, like popcorn butter on your fingers. And he was like,
Yeah,
sure. And I'm like, that's what his face is like. You just have to understand. Like it wasn't a
exactly
good
like
thing.
that. I didn't think it would be.
No.
None of that sounds
Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah. I was like, his personality, when I look at his face, I get butter on my fingers. It's not good.
All bad things. All bad things.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going, in my opinion, to a sky blue year and
Mhm.
to a red one. Feel whichever one you want to hop on board with. Feel free. If you got a different color,
Mhm.
enjoy.
Comment what your color is. It's probably your year. So yay.
Right?
Hmm.
Yeah, probably. I know I've played with my synesthesia a lot actually, and to try to be like, is this effective on channeling? Because like when I look at auras and stuff, it's a very different part of
Yeah.
me that does that, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And the root of it is no, it's just a colorful expression. It's like, all right then.
Yep.
Um, cool. Like I could like it's so weird too, because like each individual letter and number will have a color, but then when they're in a word or in a space, that is an entirely different
It's a
color.
different thing. Yeah.
Totally different color.
Hmm.
I remember getting so pissed at my sister once because she was trying to argue with me about what colors were right and which one were wrong, and she was not just accepting me as a definitive answer on the correct color for things. And I was like, no, this is what it is.
Hmm.
I have grown, but at the time, I remember I was little, I was like 8 or something, and she doesn't have synesthesia at all in the same way. And now I was like, oh, no wonder I was defensive because for
Yeah.
me, that was like my actual reality is this color comes up. And she was like, I just think it's orange. Which is
Yeah. I remember learning math in kindergarten, and my teacher was trying to tell me why these numbers worked and made that. And I'm like, oh, because this one yelled at this one, and so this happened. And she was like, sure.
like, absolutely. I'm right.
They had a conversation, and that's how it turned out.
Mhm. Perfect. Oh my God, that's just totally fine. So I was talking to one of my friends. We had a solstice giving, which is just Friendsgiving. We did it on the solstice, and it was really fun. It was an amazing experience. I was talking to one of my friends who's um their apartment is very haunted and they do a lot of kind of ghost work stuff. And they were talking about like, oh, like I've exercised a bunch of these things. Like I've got them, like gotten rid of them, which is of course not my approach. It's not your approach. That's other people can have their own approach to that. That's okay. But I was like, I always make friends first. I
Yeah. Did you talk
always
to
go for
anybody?
the like, hey, let's have a discussion and let's talk about it instead of the like go to other places, which we understand is like an ethical thing for us on that level.
Yeah.
But like again, but that reminds me very much of that of like, well, I had a conversation and the answer is nine
Hmm.
instead of forcing the numbers to be a different number. Look at us looping back spiritual stuff
Yeah,
into it.
there we go.
So good.
Yes.
Okay, well, this is our bookend for
Mhm.
December, even though you guys are in January, you lucky ducks. Um,
We want to get out of here so bad.
I mean, maybe. I don't really know. Do we
Yeah.
want to get out here?
I want to see
I
what's
am.
next because at least I can do something when it shows up. This is like
Mm-hmm,
right now, it's like a horror movie, right? Like you have to sit there and just watch the scary things and you can't handle the scary things. So if there's going to
mm-hmm,
be something scary, I would rather get to it, handle it, and then move on. I've had a lot of that in my life, and that's my coping mechanism.
mm-hmm.
It's just like handle it.
Get to the spot where the things are
Mhm.
happening.
If
And
someone
that's
passes
in
out, do
January.
CPR. Done.
Mm-hmm,
Yes, that did
right?
happen.
So sorry. Yeah. So anyway, you enjoy being in January. We like that for you. Let's talk what we actually read this month.
We were so collected in the last episode. It was literally
Oh,
right before this. We must be in the energy of New Year now, I
that
guess.
great. I hope, yeah, this energy is so abundant. I have so much abundance in this energy. I'm claiming it right now.
Mhm. Yeah.
Hmm. And so do you, and so does everyone. Everyone, abundance.
Abundance is you get abundance. You get abundance.
We love abundance. Okay. Uh,
Anyway.
what'd you read?
Okay, should I go first or should you? Because we
I'll
just
go
asked
first.
at the
I'll go
same
first. Let me
time.
just get it out of the fucking way. Okay. This was a dumb reading month. Just gonna start there. It sucked. I did not enjoy it. Sometimes, like my reading, December is historically a really good reading month for me, so I was like
Mm,
pretty pissed off about it. If you hear that in my tone, that's where that's coming from. Because I'm very annoyed by it. The first thing that I read was Somewhere Beyond the Sea, which is the sequel to House in the Cerulean Sea. And
mhm,
listen, I fucking love House in the Cerulean Sea. It's one of my all-time favorite books. It holds such a special place in my heart. This book is so deeply unnecessary, but it's still fun. Like, it's not a required book. It didn't need to have a sequel. House in the Cerulean Sea is such a pretty little wrapped up package, and it's just perfect where
mhm.
it ends, and we don't need more. But we have more now, and so if you want to partake in more, you can have it. Is it a good book? Yeah, I think it's a good book. Is it like a near as impactful and important as House in the Cerulean Sea is? No. Um, I will say it feels like a skosh bit like an extended epilogue feel a little bit.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong, stuff happens. It deals with really real world issues. It is a direct metaphor for trans rights, which I appreciate
Same.
in a lot of ways. But it's just like, okay, like that happened. There's another book of this now. Um, yeah, I will say I think that the author, it's pretty clear the author had stuff the author wanted to say, so looked at his most popular book of late and was like, well, if I add another book, I know people will hear it. And yeah,
That's
that's
not
how it
wrong.
worked. No,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's how it worked. So it exists. It was fun. I would probably give it like a 3.5, 4 star or something. I'll read it with my kids because I read House in the Cerulean Sea to my kids as well. And honestly, if you just love the kids in House in the Cerulean Sea and you just want to hang out with them more, read the book. It's great to hang out with the
Mhm.
kids more. You get another 250 pages of like Chauncey and Lucy and Talia and like all of like, and that's who's going to be upset? No one's gonna be
Hmm.
upset. It's still
Yeah.
fun. Anyway, so that was the only book this month that I've been stoked on. Next, I started reading The Teller of Small Fortunes.
Hmm.
Um, and I thought I would really like it. It's just a bit too meandery for me. Like I like cozy fiction, but this is feels very cozy, like pointless cozy fiction. It just like I made it to about 30% through the book and I was still like, and is anything gonna happen?
Hmm.
No? All right then. Love that for us. And it was just nothing. It's just a sort of if you want to vibe with a little teller of small fortune as she travels between towns and gradually grabs a group of friends along with it, like I can already see where the book is going. I don't really feel like I need to go there too, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. So I DNF'd that one. I may circle back to it if I ever am in like a sad mood and just need something to like be meandery and comfortable. It's
Hmm.
not bad. The writing's good. I just didn't feel the vibes. And that's by who's that by? Julie Leong. And now I am over halfway through A Tempest of Tea from Hafsa Faisal. I forgot how I said her name. Um it's it's well written. She is a good writer. She's the We Hunt the Flame. She also wrote that
Okay. Yeah.
trilogy, which I have not read, but I know is a huge, very big favorite of many people. It went very big. Tempest of Tea takes there's vampires. Wasn't expecting that. We're just gonna start there. There's vampires in this book. So there's that was okay. But it takes place in a city, and these two people run a tea shop that is tea shop by day and blood house by night for vampires, like a tea shop, but with blood. And the government is tyrannical and threatening everything, including their tea shop. And now they have to do kind of like a heist to try to blackmail the king, basically, to
Mm-hmm.
save their tea shop. Um, it's well written. Some of the lines are so beautiful and delicious and wonderful. I just don't I don't know if it's a pacing problem where like it's been hard for me to get into the story because it's moving too quickly and nothing feels weighted enough. Like I didn't have enough time to love the tea shop and the characters before I cared about
Hmm.
them saving it, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
like you kind of get to love sort of them through the experience, of course, sort of, but like I felt like I don't know. I just don't know if we needed some more upfront for that. I'm not sure really what the issue is diagnostically. I'm just not connecting. And I
Hmm.
find myself really bored as I'm listening, even though stuff is happening and I should not be, but I'm just like, meh.
Hmm.
So I'm probably going to DNF that too, to be totally honest, even though I'm over 50% through. I just can't get excited about reading with it. And that's what I read. Everything else is stupid. So that's my month.
Nice.
hmm
Uh, I did not read a single fiction book this month. Um, I
Yeah, so you
finished,
also had an interesting reading month.
I did. Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of theology stuff this month. Just a lot of theology. I think
hmm
I'm just on a hyperfixation with it. And I'm excited about it though, because like I want to know the truth, the reality, the cultural history, like all of those things. I'm so tired of
Yeah.
people warping it, not having any clue what they're talking about and not being able to cite their sources. So I just want to be able to offer sources. So I need to get educated, which is what I'm doing. Um, and also in my book club in the Modern School of Ancient Wisdom, we're learning how to do magical resistance and resilience. So that's been really fun.
hmm
So we read the new Aradia last month. This month I've been reading God and Anatomy by Francesca. Okay, I'm going to mess this
Cool.
up, but Stavrakopoulos, I think. So if you look up God and Anatomy by Francesca and it's a red cover with a golden idol on it, that's the one. Um, but it's been really good because I think
Fine.
it's Stavrokopola or something like that. But anyway, it talks about how originally God, the way that God started out, you have the difference between El and Adonai and that
Yeah.
hierarchy of deities. It goes
Yeah.
through that. And then it talks about references to physical representations of them walking with people and that kind of stuff in the Bible, in other lore, in Canaanite lore, in external, like interacting with other deities of other tribes and things like that. I loved it. It was very
Yeah, that's
good. It was
cool.
also quite long. So that took up a lot of my month. And then I just finished listening to, and oh my God. So I just finished listening to God After Deconstruction because I wanted to be a better resource, more knowledgeable on the process of deconstruction and how to build a relationship with what you have once you do deconstruct, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Super useful resource. It's by Trip Fuller and one other person. Um, and I loved the content. The audiobook narrator did not edit. So every time the audiobook narrator trips over a word, you hear
What?
it. Every time they say the wrong
No.
word, you hear it. And it's not
No.
infrequent. Yeah, so I recommend if you can, it's a very short book. The audiobook itself, I listened to it at 1.5 times speed. I recommend that. That sounded normal to me. Um, it was like a 3-hour audiobook, so it's like a 200-page book on its own. I recommend just reading the book if you can. Because if you are like me and you're listening and you're trying to get something out of it and you're leaning in, and then this person is tripping over the words, gets a little irritating. The book itself, good. The it needed editing for its audiobook. Editors are your best friends, whether it's in writing your book or recording it. Just gonna put that there. Um,
That's wild to me.
yeah, so I'm
Okay.
finishing that up. Like it'll be done tomorrow morning. We're getting into like the inspirational last chapter where it's not as much about theology, but it's more of like inspiring you to keep going. So I'm like, okay, I know this part myself, but I'll still finish it because I want them to have the credit for people having read it fully. I don't know where I'm going to go after that, but I do think I finally get to do well, I know my next nonfiction read. I'm still reading Ancient Religions of Mesopotamia because it is so meandering. The author clearly loved everything he said, and just really liked hearing himself talk, but I want the information, so I'm continuing to read it. It's my book for when I can't sleep right now. So I'm making progress. But the book after that I'm going to be reading is actually Jesus the Magician, and it's how Jesus used
That's neat.
traditional folk magic for his culture in a lot of what he talked about. So
I love that.
I'm very excited to read that one. And I got to find a good fiction story because right now I have like trust issues when I read a lot of the descriptions because it's like
Hmm.
it sounds okay, but it also sounds like you're giving me this and there's going to be a lot of boring around it.
I
So
know. I've been having the same problem.
yeah, and the ones that
Like,
I do want to read don't they're not out yet.
hmm
So they're like it's
I know.
coming.
Okay, so most anticipated books, The Last Emily Wilde, fucking
Yes.
hyped.
Yes,
So
already pre-ordered.
excited.
Can't wait.
Oh my, yeah, pre-ordered. I've entered every ARC giveaway. It has not been successful, but it does not matter. Um, that one is huge. Oh, there's two more that I'm really. Oh, the next Heartless Hunter book, that one's coming, and I really did enjoy that one. So we'll see if that actually continues into book two. Yeah, we'll see. That one's a big one. And then there was another one that I was really hyped about, and now I can't remember what it is.
Gosh, if I could type, I would tell you the ones I'm anticipating because there are two that
Mm-hmm.
sound really nice. Like I can't wait for them.
What is it?
Um,
Oh, I'm so annoyed.
I have to sign in again because we had to change our passwords, all sorts of drama. But here we go. So, Modern Divination, a bewitching dark academia magical love story. I'm not as interested in the love story as I am in the whole idea of like modern divination and academia.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also Lessons in Magic and Disaster, which looks really good. I can't wait for that to come out.
That sounds
Modern
fun.
Divination is by this is so small. Isa Agahanian, I think. I probably
Hmm.
said that wrong. And then Lessons in Magic and Disaster, I think is a more spring summer book that's coming out. Charlie Jane Anders is the one who did that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's one of them. I can't remember what it is, but I'll remember it after the
Mhm.
podcast is done recording, and I'll be like, "That's what it is," and you guys get to
Mhm.
be left in suspense forever. My apologies.
Dun, dun, dun.
I was just looking back at the year in reading, trying to think like, what are some of my like big highlights from this reading year? Because I think that's important to think about. A Master of Gin, one of my top ones. Loved
Yeah.
that freaking book. It was so good. Of course, Emily Wilde's second one, because Emily Wilde, always Emily
Yes.
Wilde.
So much.
Forever. Um, let's see. Piranesi was wonderful. So beautiful, so heartbreaking, so just gorgeous. Loved that. I read Gideon the Ninth this year. Never been confused by a book and enjoyed it so much. Um,
Really?
confused
I think
from
I
start.
started Gideon. No, not Gideon the Ninth. It was Ninth
No,
House I started. It's a different one. Mhm.
yeah, no, not that.
I do not recognize
Gideon the
or
Ninth,
recommend Ninth
you
House.
barely know what's going on by the end, but you've enjoyed it thoroughly the whole way through. And I've never had a book do that to me before, to
Mhm.
be totally honest, where I'm like, wow, all of this is so deeply confusing, but I'm so here for it. That is a fucking feat, and it is so neat. And one of my friends, I was talking to them again at the Friendsgiving thing, and they were mentioning like they love that series, and she was saying that Harrow the Ninth, which is the next book, she's like, you
Mhm.
really should read that. It's super duper good. And I was like, okay, but like it was so confusing to get through Gideon the Ninth. And I loved it, but I was like, okay, I need a breather. She's like, yeah, but the Harrow the Ninth is written in second person to show the process of grappling with like trauma and grief and those types of things in like a really interesting, real way. And I was like, okay, well, now I
Mhm.
probably am gonna read it. Anyway,
Yeah.
so there's that. That was an experience. Anxious
Mhm.
People is probably my top book of the year. I fucking loved Anxious People by Frederick Bergman.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think those are like the biggest ones for me. I've kind of had a little bit of a little lully at the
Mhm.
moment in the reading department. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, One Dark Window was fun. It's like tarot cardsy. I liked it, but it was not like astounding.
Mhm.
Um, and here we are. So those I think were my highlights of the year. Do you have highlights of the year that come up?
Emily Wilde, 1000%, nothing amounted to it.
Mm-mm.
Um, I think I
Now
enjoyed,
on your birthday.
which I used so much in
I do
Rome.
too.
It was so perfect.
Right? Krista, we're
So
having a hard go of it in Rome, and it is Krista's basically birthday, and Krista kept being like, I fell in the street. My birthday.
and it was great. It made it feel so much better. You know, there was mold on the walls on my birthday. It was my anniversary, but still.
But
Um,
on my
it was
birthday.
the day before my birthday. We fired our tour guide on my
On my birthday.
It was great, and I will treasure the memories. Um, I think so I'm looking at my bookshelf because if I really like a book, I put it on the shelf. And who does this? FT Lukens put out Spellbound, which I
Oh
really
yeah.
liked. I liked it enough. Like it was fun, it was funny, it made me laugh out loud. So I enjoyed that. And that's really I did like Trust in the Emerald Sea. That was
Oh
nice.
yeah.
Fun.
I love Tress.
hmm Yeah, but yeah, it was there are so many books I'm looking forward to that are
Yeah.
continuations of things. Like I'm looking at Bloodmarked by Tracy Dion, and
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for book 3 to come out. So that's gonna be nice.
I was gonna say that one comes out this year too, right?
Yes, yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very excited.
That's
Um,
exciting. I actually
yeah,
haven't
so
finished Bloodmark, so I need to do that.
yeah. So
It's
I just
so
realized
on
I
the
have Trust in the
list.
Emerald Sea on my shelf. Yay me. Super smart of me. Yeah, so I had it
Nice.
before I read it because I knew I was going to like it. So let's just get it on the shelf while you see the collector's cover.
Well,
Um,
that's the other thing. I need to finish now the Stormlight Archive, but that is a commitment that is potentially a month plus long in my life to read Wind and Truth because Brandon Sanderson completed the Stormlight Archive. Well,
mhm,
no, he didn't. He completed the first arc of the Stormlight Archive, which made me very upset.
mm,
Um, you open the book, you sit down, and the first thing it says is like, "Thank you for being here while we complete the first arc of the Starlight Archive." And I was like, "Throw the phone.
yeah.
What do you
Well,
mean?"
because we have so many long flights
Yeah,
in 2025, I might get back into the Stormlight Archive because I'll have
yeah,
time. I just have to make
yeah.
sure I don't fall asleep listening to it because I've come up with a way to actually sleep on airplane flights and I need to be good at that. So
Nice.
we'll figure that out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a deep meditation for me on flights. It's
Mhm.
not so much sleep as it is subsistence.
Yeah, yeah, it's just like like fading out because you're in the
Hmm.
sky anyway. So where do you have to be? So you're
Right?
just like, I'm gonna bounce.
Yeah, I'm busy. You just chill. I'm like, okay,
Hmm. It's a
sure.
very special kind of like meditation for me, and I like it.
Yeah, yeah. Depends. If I can control the length of it, I feel good. If
Mhm.
I just end up getting stuck in that loop, it feels awful.
Mhm. Yeah,
Do you know
if
what
it
I
makes
mean?
the flight go by, then I'm great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm kind of an innately patient person. I've never had a hard time with things like long flights.
Mhm.
Like, okay, it's fine. I'll just do this
Yeah.
thing some more. I'll read that, or I'll crochet the thing, or whatever.
Yeah, it depends. I have a threshold. After the
Yeah,
threshold, I start getting like antsy because I feel like I need to move and then
yeah,
I can't. So,
yeah. I get that. I just have really long legs, and that
yeah,
gets shit.
yeah.
Okay, so
I
let's
have stroke risks. So I'm just like, I need to not get clots, thanks.
not have a stroke.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Mm, I need
Oh
to
my
be able to
goodness.
exercise.
We
Can you
must
put
be
a fan on
navigating a
again?
lot of energy. I'm just like yawning. I'm not even
Yeah.
tired. I'm just like yawning and yawning and yawning. So sorry, guys, if you're like,
It's
why
like
is Emily
we're
so exhausted? I'm really
we're
not.
right
I'm
before this
fine.
restful, hopefully, part of the week. I hope it's a restful week. It looks like it might.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Okay.
I mean, personally, I think there's eye rolls later this week. And of course, you all will have experienced this already, so I don't need to be looking at the energy right now.
No, no, no. We do need to play Higa.
Yiga. And we had some people participate in our Yiga because
Higa.
last week we invited you to send us your questions via Patreon, and two of you did. So
Yay.
I'm going to use whatever names there are here to honor and respect people's privacy if they wanted it. And if they gave me their whole name in the comment, then I'm going to reference at least their first name. So this one was the first one that came in. I thought it was really cool. This person actually also sent an Instagram reel with it.
Oh, fun.
Uh, yeah, because it's basically this a Wicked reel from For Good, the song that has "Who can say if I've been changed for the better?" But because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
The
And
one we
so
were trying to do at karaoke.
I, yes, yes, we'll get another chance. Um, It wasn't there, man. That was so annoying. We planned for it. It wasn't there. It will be now, I'm sure.
hmm
Um, so the question is basically, I think to us of like, how have you been changed for good by
Each
us?
other.
Yeah, how have we been changed for good by
Well,
our
I'm
work
not
together?
dead, and that's entirely attributed to you.
Same.
Okay, okay, we're not giving yourself enough credit. Like, I would be fine. I just would be a lot less happy, and I
I know.
probably would have gotten hurt at some point. I don't know. In a million different ways.
Yeah, I would. Oh my gosh. Thinking on it though, like,
hmm
so this is going to get a little wispy here.
Okay.
Because I would not have realized a lot about my personal identity without you, because you were the only friend I had that was open to that where I started out when we started
hmm
this. I would not have confidence in success on being able to succeed on my own at any kind of career, let alone what I love doing. So the validation there, the traveling that I wouldn't have done, the friendships that I
Yeah.
wouldn't have, because you and our friendship, first of all, epic. But then the connections we've
So
made
epic.
just from that, how it's spider webbed out into oblivion. I have such a great support system now in friends that I trust implicitly to actually like me for who I am, which was another thing I couldn't do. That now that I'm in a funky place with previous support systems, I actually don't feel lost. So
Yeah.
I've been changed
Well,
for good and very much for the better.
now you're gonna make me cry.
I'm
I love and
trying very hard
appreciate
not
you
to
so
myself.
much.
Like
um,
literally. Ooh,
yeah. I mean, very similar things, I think, on my side as your side, as far as like you've helped me realize a lot about myself, in a lot of different ways in very dynamic spaces. I don't think I I don't think anything would be nearly as stable as it is. We require each other as like a counterweight. It's very interesting. Like
yeah.
even when Trova kind of, reached out to me first, I was like, cool. So can we have two hosts on
Yeah.
this? More than one person on the trip, please. And that again, so I don't think I would I mean, I probably would be traveling, but I don't think I would be doing it as often. I don't think it would be
Mhm.
as successful. It wouldn't feel the
Yeah,
same
it wouldn't be
way
as
that it
fun.
does. No, not at all. Not at all. Also, just, I mean, the support you offer all the time for everything that I bring up is just invaluable to me. And I'm so, like, essentially changed in that level too, of just, just trying to be there to, like, bounce all the weird spiritual shit off all the time. And yeah, we've grown community out from that, and that's really what we did together. Also, I will say too, on the writing level, my writing is also incredibly better because I know you. And what I'm doing with it in the world is also deeply impacted because I know you. And like that's cool too.
You're doing
Hmm.
really great things in the world with it, and I'm super excited for you. Yeah. And
That's
likewise,
coming, guys. Hmm.
as someone who like I am not submitting to agents until you've read it because I value you so much in your thoughts and all of those things.
Yeah.
And also just the encouragement, like even in the Forgotten Storytellers, reading each other's first
Yeah.
lines all the time and
Yeah.
workshopping together. I went from my
Mhm.
books are probably terrible, but I'll keep trying to like, I know what I'm doing, and M says it's good, so it might as well go for it.
That's so much. Well, that's the other thing we've done. Like, we both bought houses at the same time
Yeah.
and like supported each other through moving. And
Yeah.
like, it's just been like one of those, I don't know. I'm just really grateful that you accidentally fell in at the same time. It's like-
I'm sure that I was like, as the fall was happening, it was like right there, nowhere else, just go.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So, great question. Also, we tried
Amazing.
to sing
So
For
that,
Good at karaoke in Japan, and they didn't
yeah,
have it, which was a shocker.
yeah, we would have done great with it, by the
Mhm.
way. Hopefully one day soon we'll
Little
have that
bit.
opportunity. This
Yeah.
was from, they are known as Silly Flying Crows on Instagram. You know who you are. Thank you for the amazing question. Awesome.
Yeah. Also, that's a cute name.
Yeah, I like it. This next one is from over on Patreon, from Hunter. For the
Oh, I
game
love
question,
Hunter.
yeah, if your life were a movie or a TV show, what would the major life lesson to the audience be? Like what life lessons would the audience be meant to take from it? If your life were a movie or a TV.
Okay, you know what it would be? It would, for me, it would be, um, God, I don't even want to call it this, but kind of, I guess, like fluidity and perseverance or fluidity in resilience potentially. Basically, my whole thing that I do, which I've realized people struggle with. I don't struggle with this, but that's just because that's how my energy flows.
Mhm.
But and I think this would probably be the theme of it is I can't do anything the way it's supposed to be done. It's actually like kind of a problem. So
Cool.
like if I try to do it the way it's supposed to be done, it like not only backfires in my face, like it fully fucking collapses, and I'm like, oh
Hmm.
shit. So I have had to spend almost my entire life coming up with new and original ways to do all the different things that I do. And because of that, I will do 4 to 8 different things at any given moment. And 4 to 7 of those will collapse and not work. And I'll be like, cool, so one stuck, and just like move on from that.
Hmm.
And it's resulted in like beautiful connective things that have led me in the right paths, etc. However, I know I don't have the same set of limiting beliefs that a lot of people do, where they like build one thing and then if it doesn't work, they like have a hard time building the next thing. I'm like, shit, well, that's another one, and just like go. So I would think if it's a core theme of my life in general, it would be like I guess kind of how magic actually works to steer you, but also that like
Hmm.
perseverance through flow
Yeah,
concept. Do you know what I mean?
I totally get it. Yeah, and I
Mhm.
really love that idea. I'm trying to find I'm trying to find one in my life that doesn't sound pessimistic because
Life after death.
that's
Sorry.
that's where I was going. Like, you shouldn't be alive, but
It's
you
true.
are, so figure it out. Like,
Honestly, if you ever write a memoir, it should truly be called Life After Death. That would be amazing,
I will.
Krista.
My astrology mentor is always like, when are you gonna write? Because we'll look at the astrology and she'll be like, in your chart it does this. And I was like, oh yeah, that's when I fell off the castle. Oh yeah, that's when I fell in the Nile River. That's when I got hypothermic in the river in Scotland. Like that's when I almost got taken. Like So it's like a series of misfortunes that make really good stories. Like maybe that's what it would be. Like even if it wasn't a great experience, it makes a great story. So that's the theme, I
Oh,
think that
how unfortunate.
well, and I use them all the
But
time. It's
that's a
like,
great,
listen,
yeah.
I can relate because this time when I fell off a castle, I was trying to help this person do this thing. And then
Hmm.
like so I have very unconventional ways of relating to a lot of things, which
Yeah.
means that I can relate and empathize with a lot of people.
Hmm.
Because as Dan will tell me all the time, you really shouldn't be alive. Like there are multiple times where I should have been like toast.
Yeah.
And only as I told my surgeon, like I've done this before and I only died once, so it's fine. But also like sense of humor with that kind of stuff. I find it
It's
hilarious and I'm
fine.
very proud of all of it.
It's all
Um,
your Scorpio and
it is, and it does a really great job with it. It tries. Yeah, so I think life after death is definitely a theme for me. And like the great stories of random
maybe it should be like life
apparent
in spite of
misfortunes.
death.
Right? Well, like I also am really good at being like this bad thing happened, but I can see why.
Hmm.
So keep going because you can see where this thread is going. And I think that's part of what led me to astrology because I can see why, but then I was able to make people actually trust me by showing them the astrology. So astrology validated my intuition all the time. And it was my way of getting people to just be like, focus here. I got you.
Hmm.
So yeah, trust me, I
Fair
got
enough.
this.
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So
I like
cool.
it.
Yeah. So thank you,
Love
Hunter.
it.
That was a great question. Loved it. Awesome. And then do we want to do, let's see, one out
Let's
of the Higa deck?
let's do one out of the Higa.
Yeah. Let's see.
Round it
All
out
right,
with
you guys, this is
question.
on you.
Right.
I had a breakthrough on the solstice with my guides, and we're doing some team building. That's how I like to put it. So
Nice. It's a weird
uh
sound when I move my chair. I'm like, what the fuck? It sounds like I don't know if it's on something. Sorry if you're looking at me like,
no, it's
why are you
okay.
rocking back and forth? I'm like, because my chair sounds weird. Anyway,
Oh, if calories didn't exist and all food was healthy, what would you eat more of? Uh,
potatoes and cheese.
right? It would be
I mean, those are my favorite foods, period. Like, full stop.
I so things my favorite things ever that I have to eat in moderation because they're not healthy. There'd be a lot more bacon. I miss bacon a lot.
Mm,
Um, there would be double stuffed Oreos in milk.
mm.
I literally used to sit with a bowl of milk, a whole container of double stuffed Oreos on a fork so that I wouldn't have to get my fingers wet and just dunk. And it was amazing. I'd sit there doing that, watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. Happiest childhood memories I have. Actually, that's true. I was gonna be like, oh no, it's not. No, it is. So that was contentment for me. Um, but there would be whoopie pies. Whoopie pies are basically birthday cake sandwiches. It's chocolate cake sandwich buns with whipped or not with buttercream. It's got to be buttercream icing in the middle, and you just eat it like a sandwich. And like, why wouldn't you? So that's
Amazing. Love it.
whoopie pies.
Those are good decisions. Those are good ones. I like that.
Mm,
Um, yeah, I would
yeah.
probably more bacon in general.
Pizza.
Not bacon, not bacon. What the fuck? Pizza. No, what? Why? Gosh.
I said bacon and
Potatoes is what I
pizza.
was trying to say. I don't
Yeah,
do bacon. I would still not eat
yeah,
animals.
yeah.
I
I miss
realized
bacon, but yeah.
I realized this is the other last night I was playing Phoenix Rising because it's just been my way
Mm,
to like connect with the gods lately. It's a video game.
nice.
It's very
It's a
like
good one.
a la style of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Not quite as developed,
Yeah,
but like a la that style.
yeah.
But with the Greek gods.
Mhm.
And so it's been fun. But there was discussion about like, oh, don't steal those cows from Apollo, blah 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 blah. And I was like, oh, did you make me a vegetarian? Because I became a vegetarian because a cow got eaten. The cow
Oh.
that I loved got eaten. And I was like, that is Apollo probably did that. Like it's probably him being like, we love the cows. Don't eat that. Um, anyway, yeah, I would say potatoes. I love potatoes. I love French fries. I'm a French fry
Mm.
connoisseur.
Oh, I have to make French fries.
Yeah, I have a list of the best French fries I've ever tasted and where they are from. Always
Mm,
running in my head. And sometimes occasionally a new one will get bumped up. It's very rare.
mm.
But I would eat more of them for sure.
I used to
Um,
eat Sheets fries by the bag.
yeah,
Yeah.
because fries are just the best. They're just the best. I love French
Mhm.
fries. But I love potatoes, period. Potatoes are my favorite food and followed closely by cheese. What type of cheese? Any type of cheese. I have no preference. They're all delicious. I'm not a big cheddar fan just because it's so bad for you.
Hmm.
But the other cheeses are a lot better for you than cheddar is, so I tend to avoid that as much as possible. But if I could eat, I'd just eat all the cheese and potatoes, I think. Um,
I actually,
yeah,
when I was in
probably that.
elementary school, had the record for the school of most servings of mashed potatoes eaten in a single lunch period because everybody, once they saw me start, just put all the potatoes on my tray. And it was like 8 to 10 servings of mashed potatoes, and I ate all of it. It was
'Cause
amazing
it's delicious.
because
It's
it's
mashed
fantastic.
potatoes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's texture and flavor and like
Oh.
all those good things.
Also, Ben and Jerry's ice cream. There used to be this ice cream. So my grandpa used to make ice cream for us at every like holiday event situation that he was there. He'd make this ice cream. It's like a lemon vanilla, and it's
Ooh.
so fucking good. Every
Mm,
time my mom makes it, because she'll still make it for us, I will have 3, 4 bowls of it because it's just amazing. The texture is amazing. The taste is
mhm,
just so good. It's so good. Um, and I actually found they unfortunately went out of business in 2020, but they were called Three Twins Ice Cream,
mm.
and they had a lemon cookie ice cream, and it had lemon cookies in it, but the flavor base was the same as my grandpa's, and I loved that. It was so
Yeah.
good. So I think Ben and Jerry's, or if those Three Twins of ice cream could come back from the dead,
Hmm. I
I
mean,
would eat
some of
that
us
in
can, so why
excess.
not them?
Right? Come on,
Amateurs.
revive, or just sell me your recipe. I'll even just make it at
Hmm.
this point in time.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
will commit.
literally, that's the cookies I have in my fridge right now. There was an aunt I had, and she and my uncle were not together anymore, and I got the recipe for her cookies.
Perfect. I love that. Recipes in the divorce is a nice win.
Yeah, it's good. I'm the only one that makes them anymore, so.
Yeah, see, there you go. But yeah, I think those. I think those
Hmm.
things. You know? Oh, good question. I'm
Hmm.
hungry. I do
Dude,
have a
if
bunch of
calories
leftovers.
weren't a thing and everything was healthy, I would just go to a Chinese buffet and have a good time.
Oh, Chinese food is such a weakness.
Yeah, I literally
Okay,
had a Chinese buffet for my wedding. That's how much I love
there
this.
is a new dumpling. So I've discovered 2 new restaurants in town. There's a new dumpling place, and then there's a new
Hmm.
empanada place.
Yeah.
I've discussed with you the empanada place. It is
Yes.
incredible. If you come to South Lake Tahoe, empanada place, please look it up. I need it to stay here because I will be infinitely depressed this way. My mental health is connected to that empanada place at this point. It's so good. So amazingly delicious. Anyway, but I also there's this new dumpling place, and the dumpling place, uh I'm like, the dumplings are fine, but they have the best chow mein in town. It
Hmm.
is so good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Which is not like a Chinese restaurant. They don't have a lot of other dishes other than dumplings, but they have such good chow mein. I'm like, well, I
Hmm.
guess this is what I do now. I'm
This is
having a
who I
bad
am.
day. I get chow mein and bananas. Or it's fine.
I love
Okay.
it.
I eat it over the course of like 3 days anyway, 'cause it's like a big
Hmm.
serving. Oh. I would still eat all the vegetables though. I love vegetables.
Hmm.
They're my
Yeah, I wouldn't get
favorite.
rid of any of the healthy food. I would
No,
incorporate more food that I limit and that
yeah.
is more moderated by far.
Love vegetables so much. I miss them when I haven't eaten like enough in like a day or two, which
Yeah.
is to say I eat a crap load of vegetables. So like I've eaten them. I eat them every day. But if I haven't
Hmm.
had like enough or like haven't had enough raw ones
Yeah,
in the
you can
like a day
feel.
or two, I'm like, "Oh, depression. Give me the baby carrots."
Yeah,
It's
like
like
where is a salad, please? Yeah.
that's to happen. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, same with tofu.
Hmm.
When we were in Italy for the 2 weeks that we were in Italy, and by the end of it, I was like, I need to eat some tofu.
Yeah,
I'm
I need some
just
like good
having a
protein
really
sources,
hard
please.
time with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those are great questions.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is a
we'll
fun
be doing
one.
this again next month. So if you think about questions,
Yeah.
any post on my Patreon that has a preview for the Alchemist Inkwell, which happens every Wednesday if you're on Patreon,
Yep.
um, feel free to put a comment there. I will check them every time we do the Higa game. And
Yep. Same
yeah,
on
yeah.
mine as well. I also have a pre-launch pre-episode space. You know what I'm saying. Just ask a question
Early
there and I'll put it on
access.
the list.
We
That's
both
fine.
offer early access to the episodes on our individual.
Thank you. Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. You are fantastic. We are so excited to dive into this next year with you.
Hmm.
Yay. Woot
Hmm.
woot.
Whether
We
it's
hope
red or
you
blue.
right. We didn't mean that politically, but that hit it too hard on
Oh
the nose.
no. And mine was red. No. Nope. Nope. Nope.
Anyway, you guys, we hope you take this energy and use to go
Go
make
make
some
some magic.
magic.
So ashamed of myself.
It's not
Change
your
your
fault,
color.
it's just the synesthesia. It's fine.